So I recently did a video explaining some of the things you should do when you buy a new Chinese mini excavator. And one thing I didn't see online, and I had my doubts whether or not I should be doing this, was the tension on the tracks. And lo and behold, when I took the machine out for my first test run, then one of the tracks fell off. So I had to put that back on and tighten it up. And I'll show you a video in future on how to replace the track. But starting from the basics, what I'm going to do now is show you how to tighten the tracks on one of these machines. Something you should know is that this isn't like the larger Cats and Volvos, etc. Because those, the tension is held by grease. And when you release the grease zerk, the track automatically contracts. This one is mechanical, and that means you have to tension it manually. And so what I'll do is I'll show you how to do that now. And I suggest if you get one of these machines, then you should check the tensioning, because obviously in the factory, maybe the temperature is different or they don't take much care and the track might be too loose. Also, on the larger machines, the standard machines, there's a particular sag you need to have in the track. But apparently on these machines, you need to torque it up as tight as you can to get the track really tight. So let's get into it. And you might be thinking, how do I get at the track? I'm out in the middle of the forest, I don't have a forklift, I don't have a hoist. Well, there's no problem, because this machine is capable of lifting itself. So this is what we'll do first. So if there's an operator in this machine and it's running, make sure they put the lockout on. That means they won't accidentally drop the track or move the boom while you're trying to work on it. The first thing we need to do is access the adjuster mechanism, and that's behind this plate here. You're going to need a 13mm spanner. Also, a chainsaw wrench will work fine on these. Remove this plate, and then underneath you're going to need a very big 30mm socket. That's to loosen the lock nut. There's a big nut in there which stops the adjuster from shifting when you're using the machine. The machine came with a 30mm spanner, but it doesn't actually fit the nut that's on this. I don't know why. So I had to grind out the mouth of the jaws to make them a little bit larger to fit. And you're going to need a 16 or a 17mm spanner to actually adjust the mechanism. The difficulty here is that there's very little room in this access plate. My opinion is it's too small, it should be bigger. So you can't actually get a ratchet in there. You can tighten it with a ratchet, but you can only loosen it a certain amount if you want to take the track off. And that's because as it backs out, the ratchet gets stuck inside the access hole. So you'll have to make sure you've got an open-ended spanner in order to adjust the mechanism. So we'll just loosen the access plate. It's not too tight. Like I say, you can use a chainsaw wrench for this. Now what they say is, on larger machines you should have some sag in the track so that you don't wear out the track. But when I asked Tucker from Bully Dog Equipment, he said they should be as tight as possible. And I think that's why it fell off, because as you can see here, there's some give. My guess is with the mechanical tensioner, then there's no way for you to over tighten it manually anyway. So just make it nice and tight. As you can see, then the access hole is very small. If you put a socket on there and try to loosen it, it will get jammed against the opening. That's okay, because we're just going to tighten this time. This loosens actually quite easily. So I'm just going to tighten that clockwise as much as I can to take the slack out of the track. And really with this small ratchet, there's no way I'm going to over tighten that. It's amazing how loose it is really. As you tighten, you might find that the lock nut engages again, so you have to loosen it. Really, there's almost no room in here to get your tools in. Yeah, right. That's about as tight as I can get on that. And then make sure you tighten the lock nut again. It's got a really deep thread, so you don't have to worry about stripping it. Just make sure it's really snug. And now you can see we don't have hardly any play in that at all. It's not going to fall off on me again. Okay. So really I should have done this when I first bought the machine. I was worried it might take a lot of time. I didn't realize it didn't require re-greasing. So that kind of put me off. But as you can see here, to tighten your tracks only takes 5 minutes. Changing the track or replacing it is actually more difficult. Much easier with a grease nipple, because as soon as you release the grease, the track just sags down and you can take it off. But on this one I had to loosen the mechanical tensioner for ages, and there's no way to get a socket in there to do it. And so it takes a long time with a spanner. But I'll show you how to do that another day. Always a good idea to check all the bolts on one of these Chinese machines, because they might be loose. You don't want them falling off while you're working. Okay, don't know if this one's... And now we can put her to work. And so if you're a newbie like me, then please consider subscribing and pressing the like button and sticking notifications on. Because basically, when you're new to something, you need all the help you can get.